What's up, gamers? I finally got on vacation, and man, I sure hope my full-time house doesn't get jealous of this part-time summer house, because it is pretty nice. But anyways, to celebrate the occasion, I've decided to take a look back at when one of my favorite mascot platformers also went on vacation. That's right, Mario Sunshine. And out of the 3D Mario games, this is definitely the weirdest, as it has just one general setting, and it doesn't have a sequel or spiritual successor of any kind. Made during the GameCube era, this was when Nintendo really tried anything that they felt like that day. Got a Ghostbuster game but Mario's brother as the protagonist? Make it. Want to bring back an old franchise but as a 3D action adventure game? Make it. Want to make a new Zelda game but with an art style that no one was expecting? Make it. You get the point. So when Mario 64 came out 6 years earlier and blew everyone's minds with its 3D open levels, the sequel already had a lot to live up to, especially by the time the GameCube rolled around in 2001, due to the sheer amount of 3D platformers that came out by then. And after a few months go by, Mario Sunshine is released to mixed reviews. While most critics enjoyed the game, fan reviews were all over the place, with some absolutely loving the game and others absolutely hating it, which honestly makes a lot of sense as the game has slippery controls, and when combined with the terrible camera that just refuses to work properly, it makes the game more frustrating than challenging. On top of that, there's multiple areas that feel rushed and unpolished compared to the rest of the game. These small problems really suck, as with only a little bit more time put in to fix them, it could have made the game so much better. For the game itself, I first want to mention how before you even choose a save file, you're able to control Mario, which I always enjoy in games when there's technically some gameplay before starting, instead of the generic title screen. Then it starts off with Mario and Peach on an airplane that is headed to the tropical island of Isle Delfino. As Mario dreams of food, Peach sees on the TV advertisement a shadowy Mario look-alike jumping around in the background. Upon arriving at the airstrip, it's covered in a bunch of weird paint. This is where Mario meets Flood, which stands for something that is way too long for me to feel like reading. Flood acts as this game's gimmick as it has two primary nozzles, the spray and hover pack, which are used to clean away the paint and to help with platforming in all areas except the secret stages. Later on in the game, after collecting a certain amount of shine sprites, you gain access to the turbo nozzle, which lets you move much quicker, and the rocket nozzle, which boosts you into the air. After defeating a goopy plant monster as a tutorial, Mario is subsequently thrown into jail. Due to acts of vandalism around Isle Delfino, the shine sprites have left the Shine Gate, turning Isle Delfino into a dark and gloomy place. And since whoever did this was impersonating Mario, he is forced into community service where he has to clean up everything on the island, which oddly isn't the strangest premise for a Mario game story. Your first job is to clean up some paint nearby, and after doing so, Shadow Mario appears and tries to steal Peach. After defeating him, he unlocks the first level and jumps into the paint portal. As the game goes on, we learn that Shadow Mario is just Bowser Jr. using a magical paintbrush. This is also Bowser Jr.'s first appearance in the Mario franchise, and his whole thing in this game is that he thinks Princess Peach is his mom, which brings up some interesting questions at the least. Going back to the Shine Sprites, they're the main collectible this time around, with you getting one for doing any of the typical Mario things. Beating a boss, finishing a platforming section, etc. In total there's 120 Shine Sprites, just like how in Mario 64 there's 120 stars. But unlike in Mario 64, you can't just get any shine you feel like getting. Instead, the levels are much more linear this time around, to where you have to get to episode 7 in each level and beat Shadow Mario before the final stage opens. This hurts the replayability of the game so much, as before in 64, you could skip entire levels if you had enough stars, making each playthrough unique. Now you have to actually play the game that you bought. What the heck, Nintendo? For the levels themselves, they all follow the tropical theme, which I never really understood why people got angry at this. The game's called Super Mario Sunshine. What, were you expecting Mario to climb Mount Everest in this one? The first level I want to talk about is actually the hub world, Delfino Plaza. This is one of the most iconic locations in Mario games for a reason. It both serves as an interesting place to be in between levels, and there's some extra missions you can find and complete here. For example, the pachinko machine, which was very frustrating during my first playthrough a while ago, but now I realize that if you just take your time and use the Flood hover pack, it really isn't that hard. But the lily pad ride though, it is so annoying. First you have to take this insanely long route just to get into the level itself, and then you have to use some terrible movement controls to grab 8 red coins, and if you lose all of your lives, you have to do the entire route all over again. Next is the first real level, Bianco Hills, which is probably the most generic level out of the bunch, as it could fit into any other Mario game. After basically redoing the tutorial, you climb up the windmill to fight PD Piranha in episode 2. This fight, in my opinion, is the perfect contrast between fun and challenging on your first playthrough. The second fight though is just so annoying, not because it's super hard, but due to how long it takes. The secret levels are both easy as long as you actually pay attention, and after the Shadow Mario fight in episode 7, episode 8 involves collecting red coins, which is pretty easy. Overall, a good level with even better music. Going back to the secret levels for a second, typically in each level there's 1 or 2 episodes that involve you getting to an area. Once this happens, Shadow Mario appears and steals FLUDD from you. These levels are all about platforming to the end in the typical Mario fashion, though due to the slippery controls and the fact that FLUDD can't be used to help in these moments, most levels are annoying for reasons they really shouldn't be annoying. Taking place in an empty space, this was most likely a partial inspiration for Mario Galaxy's level design. All in all, these levels are really either you like it or you don't. Next up is Rico Harbor. Much like PD Piranha, a giant blooper shows up twice for boss fights, with both times being super easy, as all you have to do is pull off its limbs and tug at its nose. The animal cruelty does not get better as you serve around on some bloopers for both races and to collect red coins. Episode 8 is super annoying in this level, as in this you need to have Yoshi, which is unlocked later in the game. After that, you have to jump around on these fruit dispensers for quite a while until you get a singular fruit, because Yoshi has to be picky and can't just eat an apple. This leads into a pretty annoying platforming section, as if you fail once, you have to do the whole process over again. Most of the level is annoying or just plain boring, but the location that they chose is pretty neat. Gelato Beach isn't any better as its location just feels like Bianco Hills with more sand. The Wiggler fight and secret course are the only fun parts. The Sandbird challenge really isn't as hard as people say, as I only died once and it was due to me not realizing it would turn to its side. As long as you use FLUDD, it isn't really an issue at all. The race against Piantismo echoes the Koopa race from 64 despite being a cakewalk. The swimming mechanics absolutely suck too, which makes the red coin challenge a slog. This is surprising as it's a tropical themed game, so you'd think they would get that part correct. Episode 8 is more annoying stuff as you have to move the watermelon all the way to the shack without destroying it, which is insanely easy to do. Thankfully, it's mostly fun levels after this. Right off the bat, Pinna Park is my favorite level due to it being set at a theme park, and its first episode is a fight in a roller coaster against a giant robot Bowser. Then both secret levels are fun despite not being a real challenge at all. This level is also where you get access to Yoshi, which is such a cool addition other than the whole specific fruit thing. The runaway Ferris wheel section is pretty challenging, but actually in a good way this time. The red coins are actual challenges unlike with most other levels. Finally, it ends strong with another roller coaster segment, but this time you pop balloons within a time limit. Serena Beach is next, with its first episode being a boss fight against a paint manta ray that splits into two multiple times after enough damage. This fight is the most challenging in the game due to how easy it is to become overwhelmed. Other than that, most shines take place in Hotel Delfino, which are all fun, whether it be the secret stage, which is super challenging the first few tries, or the hidden path to the pool. The casino is the best part of the level though, as it's such a unique concept, at least for Mario games that is. Sadly, the secret stage gets ruined due to the picture puzzle being a drag. Then the King Boo fight is pretty cool as it gives a cool way to take down a boss, except for the fact that the whole fight is RNG based. Noki Bay is next and is such a beautiful level. The first mission is to uncork the waterfall in an attempt to clean the water, because it's not drinkable, I'll tell you that much. The runes are also really cool as you platform within walls with a time limit to get to the shine sprite. This level falls apart though when you go underwater for red coins and the eel fight, because like I said earlier, the controls are terrible. The nice thing though is that there's tons of coins throughout the eel fight, and both red coin levels are relatively quick. Piantismo returns in an even easier race this time, which is super surprising. Finally, the secret level is the hardest this time, as you have to use triple jumps and backward jumps in super small spaces, and if you slip once, you have to do it all over again. Along with how long the level is before even getting to the area, and this platforming section, it serves as a pretty frustrating challenge without being broken at all. The final main level is Pianta Village, which starts off with you cooling off 3 chain chomps and launching them into the pond. Later on, you'll have to instead cool off 1 giant chain chomp and throw them into the pool. Piantismo returns again in this level for his last race, and just like all the others, it is insanely easy to beat him. The Goopy Inferno requires you to climb around under the map to reach the shine without being burned, which can be pretty annoying if you don't know where to go. Finally, the secret area this time is the infamous Chuckster level, due to the broken directions the Chucksters throw you in. And I had no problem with it. I just took my time with the Chucksters' positions and got to where I wanted to go with no problem. Overall, a mediocre final level. After beating Shadow Mario on episode 7 in all levels, Delfino Plaza floods and Corona Mountain opens up. It starts off with some simple timed platforming with fire and spiked platforms, but then halfway it transforms into a boat section, which is my worst nightmare. The stupid controls are so inconsistent on this boat, and because they had to make it a narrow hallway with rocks, you'll have to redo this segment lots upon lots of times over. Once you get to the end though, you enter in on Bowser, Peach, and Jr. all in a pool. This is also a good time to mention that this game had voice acting, which is super jarring whether or not you expected it. Thankfully, this didn't stick around in the later games. This final boss fight doesn't really feel like a final boss fight though, more like a mid-game boss or end-of-level boss. This whole segment really of both Corona Mountain and the boss fight feels so rushed, and if Nintendo were just trying to come up with an idea to end this game. After you destroy the pool and beat Bowser, the Shine Sprites return to the gate. Peach is saved, Flood is killed and then subsequently resurrected by the Toads, Bowser Jr. finally learns anatomy, and Mario can actually enjoy his vacation now. Though that is just the base game shines. There's also 100 coin shines, like in Mario 64, and the secret shines, which add 2 more shines to each main level. These mostly just consist of you going back to a secret area and getting red coins, or finding and spraying something, though you'll still need 24 shines in order for full completion. And that's where the real villain comes into play, the blue coins, which have 30 in each level, 20 in Delfino Plaza, and 10 in Corona Mountain, with these ones being the hardest due to the earlier said problems with Corona Mountain. This equals up to a total of 240 coins throughout the game. While you'll probably ignore these when you're just playing through the base game, once you come back it becomes so much harder, as there's no proper way to track which coins you've already gotten. And yeah, you could just double back and check every single coin location afterwards. You shouldn't have to do that, just because the devs overlooked a proper tracker for these coins. You turn in these coins to a hut with raccoons. For 10 blue coins, you get 1 shine sprite, which makes no sense, as you would expect them to return the shines to the Shine Gate to help better their home. But nope, I have to instead search Sharina Beach for 20 minutes for 1 blue coin just so I can have 120 shine sprites. And you might ask, what is your reward for collecting everything in the game? A new costume for Mario that darkens the game, and a different end screen after beating the boss. Yay. Super Mario Sunshine is a game that I personally love due to its unique environments and level ideas, though a strong argument can be made against it due to it being a roller coaster of good and bad levels. It falls apart even more on the completion side of things due to the blue coins alone, so overall, it's Mario.